thing that came to mind was a story about Jesus. He's teaching, and he asks one of the disciples if he can borrow their boat. And he pushes off, and he's teaching. And then he finishes teaching, and the disciples, who aren't even disciples at that point, are on the side washing their nets. And he looks over at Peter, apparently, and says, why don't we just go fishing? You know the story, I'm sure. And Peter looks at him and he says, Peter's a fisherman. And Jesus is, a carpenter, second career, a preacher. He's kind of had this transition now. Now he's preaching, teaching, healing. And you got to just wonder what is going on in Peter's mind. And Peter sort of looks at him like, we've been working all night. We haven't caught a thing. And he says, and this is the thing that caught me, is that Peter says, but if you say so, we will. And that is the power of the resurrection for me. If you say so, we will. And of course, what happens next is incredible. So they obey, and they toss the net over on the other side. And what happens? They catch so much fish, the boat begins to sink, right? And they're just overcome by this man who has such extraordinary power. And yet he's not a fisherman. And yet we catch fish by obeying him. And I'm just really struck by that. Okay, you have authority now. And the resurrection is what is giving him this authority. He has conquered death to give us life. And that comes home for me. I would say in obedience there is a deepening of faith and an enriching of my life. It is incremental. There are sometimes I say, heck no. I understand. I understand where I'm trying to get. And I've been fishing all night, and I know how to fish, and I know that you don't know. Because you're up there in some star chamber, right? And there are other times where I just have a softer heart, and I'm willing to hear and see. And this morning I walk into the kitchen and the little dishwasher complete light is on. So what am I going to do? Am I going to have my quiet time, or am I going to empty the dishwasher? I mean, that's like real, isn't it? I mean, I know it doesn't sound terribly spiritual, but this is like, okay, do I accept pain or do I go for glory? So I guess one of the things that I'm trying to coach myself on is, if my impulse is one thing, it's likely that the right thing to do in terms of my relation with God is actually the opposite. So if my inclination is like to go quietly read the Bible in a soft, comfy chair with a cup of coffee when the dishwasher is waiting to be unloaded, it's probably just go empty the dishwasher, And so, yeah, I mean, we have those things all the time, right? The moments that bring joy, the moments that give kind of a depth to my life are moments when I say, I don't understand. My brain cannot compute why, but okay, I will.